Hello everyone, my name is Dan Joseph Pedroso and together with my teammates, Matthew M. Malorca, our talented leader and artist, and John Nathan Fernandez, our brilliant lead coder. We proudly present to you our video game, 2-Minute Hero. So let me tell you about 2-Minute Hero. It's fast-paced, thrilling, and all about saving an island in just 2 minutes. Now the story is simple. Slimes and Tribemen's raiders are wreaking havoc on a peaceful island, and it's up to you to stop them. So your mission is clear. Defeat all the enemies, rescue the villagers, break free from the 2-minute curse that's constantly ticking down. But here's a twist. Our game is inspired by speedrunning. So it's not just about beating the enemies, it's about doing it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So along the way, you'll need to explore the island to find hidden enemies and treasures, collect powerful weapons to enhance your skills, manage your inventory, swapping items to heal and stay alive, and there's more. Hidden throughout the island are 3 secret upgrades. This will make your speedrunning experiences much easier, but finding them, that's a challenge in itself. So now let's talk about controls. So we will be using WASD for movement and navigating for your character. Pressing E to open your inventory, using the right arrow key to attack, and unleashing a fireball by pressing the F key. So can you outsmart the clock, save the island, and become the hero in just 2 minutes? Island is counting on you. Good luck, hero. So we are going to demonstrate to you the game and what it looks like. We're going to press enter. So in the screen here, it shows 2-minute hero. You are a prince who seeks glory. You receive a distress call from an English island. The people are oppressed by tribal invaders and slimes. Your mission? Save them and defeat the bothersome hooligans. But beware, you are cursed to die in 2 minutes until you do. Will you find glory in just 2 minutes? So after I press enter, the enter key, the timer, the 2-minute timer will automatically start. And if we fail to comply under 2 minutes and hit the 2-minute mark, the game will be over. So you will be defeated. So we will press enter, and here is the game. So first we are going to get kill as many enemies as possible in under 2 minutes. So right now I'm pressing the right arrow key to kill the enemies. So now we defeated 10 enemies out of 30. We're just going to explore the island. So we can press the F key for a fireball. So each killing multiplies the damage for more attack. So here we have into the next island. We're going to be transported with more enemies here. Okay, so we got killed because I didn't use the health potions. We're just going to rejoin. Just going to kill. So when we lose our hearts, we can use the E and get the red potion. We're just going to enter so we can have our health recovered. So with the skill, and then here we got one of the few upgrades in this game, which is the Sword Prominence out of 3. So we're going to get that to get 4 kills. Going to the next island. Here's the next upgrade with more raiders here. Enemies. So we're almost nearing the end of the game. Just going to kill a few more and then the game will be over. Okay, so it seems that we cannot find the next enemy, and when we hit 2 minutes, it's going to be a game over. So let's try again and play the game and win. So we're just going to kill. And also when we upgrade, our hearts automatically replenish. So each time we level up, our hearts and mana restore. Okay. You can get the health potion here. Go to the next island. Here's one of the upgrades, Sword of Dominance. So from that top right, you can see that we have only 8 enemies left to kill. Just gonna go on the next island and get the rest. So let's just heal. Here's the last enemy, and that's it. So after you defeated, it says game complete. Congratulations, you have defeated all enemies. So it'll showcase your time, and I got 74.55 seconds. So that's all for our game demonstration. So thank you and goodbye.
Hello everyone, my name is John Nathan Fernandez. I'm the lead coder of this project, and today I will be undergoing and showing you with the code, or what we should now call as the code explanation. And I would like to say special thanks to my other two team members, Dan Joseph Pedroso and Matthew Mallorca, for helping a lot in regards to concept development, making decisions and providing the assets, as well as because of them being the artists of the project themselves. And so I would like to thank them. And so let us begin. First of all, I made a class first, which is the My2D game, which is my main class, and if there are some operations that must be executed when the game starts, it would begin right here. So the string args would start here, and then we use the JFrame library in order to create a window. So we use the public static JFrame window, and this object will be used in order to access the methods in the this library. It's named the My2D game because this is my prototype. This is the prototype name of our project, and so that is the way it is for now. I would like it to stick, just for that. And of course, you make a new JFrame, right? You instantiate this class. Then you set the default toss operation because there's this thing, X. Resizable, which means that you can't resize the screen, and you, of course, the set title, which would be written here to be 2-Minute Hero. I'm gonna also create a new class called Game Panel, and so in the Game Panel, I will be setting the original tile size of the characters that would show on the computer or on the window, and this would be the basis in regards to the My2D game, or the main class of the window. The window would be basing off of this, and so we're gonna set up some coordinates. Some measurements. So since that this is a 16-bit game, I've decided that the original tile size would be 16, and our assets of using would be solely 16 pixels. Then we would also scale them into 3, which would be used as the measurement in regards to the locations of the characters and the assets that would present in front. Then the tile size would especially would scale from 16 to 48 because our scale here is 3. And the purpose of the max screen column and max screen row would be used for incrementation later in regards to map building. And the screen width and the screen length would also be used in in regards to making the what to load or what not to load, and on the screen if the map is bigger than the window that is being shown to you. So that's where the screen width and the screen length would be used. Then actually I forgot to reiterate this is in incrementations. This is for the creation of the screen, actually, for the screen if you're gonna put something in there. And this is actually the one that's in regards to the map building. So screen building and map building is different from each other. There's also the world width and the world height that will be used later, and the max map, which is used as there are like a lot of maps in regards to that. We have, in this particular project that we have, we would be using 4 maps, and so in this case this is pretty much its limit. And our map as of now would be the map that I will be using, that we have shown earlier. The first one that comes out is coded as 0. That's what it is. And so going back to the My2D game, now we instantiate the game panel to use those coordinates. Is window.add the game panel to use those coordinates, and we pack it so that it would focus on those coordinates that we have. I mean, not really coordinates, measurements. Then set location relative to null to put it in the middle of the screen. Set visible in order to show the window itself. Now there are 2 methods in the game panel that will be started, but one of the most fundamental things in regards to games is the game loop, which I will be explaining to you right after this. Okay, so in regards to making a game thread, making a game loop will be the basis of all of your processes that would be displayed over and over and over again. You first instantiate the game panel class right here. So we use game threads instead, which is different from our Minds game and Tic-Tac-Toe, which is only pretty much used for audios only. But in game loops and video games, the game thread is used in order to load specific classes or images over and over again in order to show the animation. Alright, so yeah, you pretty much first instantiate this game thread right about here, thread, game thread, and you do some implements. You add this to the declaration of your game panel. So extends Java X swing, the J panel, which is in this case this implements the runnable, which means that if you're gonna have a run method, it's just gonna be running immediately, right? If you call it from its parent class, which is My2D game. Right? Okay, so in regards to the game loop, right, which is in this run, there is supposedly a draw method where you are gonna call every one of your assets, like the players or the enemies or the projectiles or the monsters. It's gonna be called right here, and it's gonna display it onto the screen based off a frames per second basis. But in my case, alright, I use these functions. But for now, there is this update that updates the information, right, of the player position or player position, or the position of your assets or monsters, or basically every updatable object, right, that is being displayed, your map even. So it's going to be based off the update, and so in this update class would be displayed. So the update method of my player is I'm gonna explain it later. And yeah, it's also plays the same role for the NPC and the monster, the projectile, so the update, pretty much the role of the update method is to update the information of whatever comes up on the screen. The draw, which is supposedly right on the the game loop right here, there is supposedly the one there, but instead I've separated into 2 parts in order to be able to display it, if whether or not it is full screen or windowed. But in my case, I've decided that I've turned it into window because of performance issues due to my machine, which is pretty inferior. So draw to temp screen, which this would like there. I have a key handler class, which is right here, that would display the debug text. Like if I want to display the nano time and all of that, how much time has passed, it displays that. The draw to temp screen, if the game loop starts, if it is still in the title screen, the game starts in the title screen, by the way. So in my case, it's gonna draw my UI, and I have a UI class here, and yeah, it pretty much shows my UI up in the screen here. Here in my else, since that we're not really in the title state, from our context, we're pretty much in the gameplay area now. It's gonna draw the map right here in the tile m.draw. Then right here, it's gonna, I actually created a list that you could access, and access these players, player, projectile, and the tile manager right here. I have a tile manager class for the drawing of the image, of the map itself. So I also had that right here. So I pretty much added my player class into this entity list, and also in my entity list, are my NPCs, current map. So yeah, it's gonna display my NPCs right here, whatever objects that I'll place on the ground. The sword earlier, the shield, and the other sword. Those are objects that I've added in the class too. Then also the monsters that will be placed, and the projectiles. Alright. So they pretty much kind of share the same logic in regards to being drawn onto the map, and yeah, same logic. So yeah, everything that pretty much exists in the players, the player, the entity, or the monster. Player, monster, the tiles, even, the projectiles, the monster, NPC, and object are gonna be stored into an entity list and are gonna be accessed accordingly, with their draw methods being accessed too. So it's gonna be drawing onto the game loop over and over again based off the updates made by the update class that I had, on the game loop. So that's pretty much what the purpose of these things are. Storing it, and it's gonna sort it right here in the entity list. So yeah, I pretty much instantiated it right here, the array list, and yeah, of course, may armading Then the max map, which would tell what the sort of map that is going to be. In this case would be the limit is 10. So you pretty much have to set the limits in regards to array making. And so that's how it works. It's the same with the projectile here, and that's how it works on the draw to temp screen, and you're gonna draw those entities, in this game loop. In this loop. So it's gonna draw everything, those monsters, NPCs, player itself, it's gonna be displaying that here. Then after that, it's gonna clear the entity list to make it's gonna clear the entity list in order to make way for if the game is gonna update, it's gonna clear the whatever draw methods or updates that are made in the past draw methods, and is gonna draw again with the new with the new information given by my update method. So that's how pretty much my game loop works, along with the drawings, And I forgot to mention, I also made a paint component that is pretty much executed every time that every time that those entities that those things that I put in the entity list would be displayed. So it would be pretty much displayed with this super paint component. We use the graphics G, a library, with the G, object in order to access, it's like a paintbrush. It is like, it is used as the pen on the paper. So that's the, reason for the paint component. So in my case, I've upgraded it into Graphics 2D G2 because there are extra functions that you could use, and you pretty much dispose it after that. On my running class, after the draw to temp screen, like this, it's gonna go with to draw to screen. The reason why we had the temp screen variables earlier is because that, it's because in order to so that I could set my window earlier into a full screen. But in my case, I didn't really do that, because the variable of the screen width and screen length, or the screen itself, is is pretty, changes variably. It changes, and you have to preserve the original value, the screen length and screen width. So yeah, I pretty much created those temp screen, and that's the purpose of this draw to screen. Also, that's how it works. Now that's how it works. And then I also had these two extra classes for but I'm gonna first explain the player. In regards to the player, right? In regards to the player, you have to constantly update its position. So you pretty much, and if you want to use like a certain keys in order to move the player, you're gonna have a key handler class. So I have this right here, and so you gotta implement first the key listener library, right? Implementing the key listener library enables you to for the class in order to listen to whatever you type on your keyboard. So you first have these variables of whether or not you press a certain button. In this case, up press, down press, left press, right press, enter press, short key pressed, like that. And this one is pretty useless, so I'm not really gonna use that. Alright, in regards to the show debug text, right, I had a button right there. So the purpose of that is when I press that button, it's gonna show my my position, my position on the map, what is the current time, onto the screen. So it's gonna basically draw that. But in this case, I'm gonna explain a couple of certain things first. So okay, never mind. I'm just gonna explain the player. Okay, play state. So this game has 3 states: the play state, the title screen state, and the game over state, which means that in these states, when you press these buttons, they serve different purposes. But in my case, if we're just gonna be playing the game currently, it would be in the play state, right? It would be the role of the play state right here, and the play state would this would be the basis for the updating of the direction of the player. So if he pretty much wanted to go west, left press is goes to true, down press, down, up press goes to true. This would be pretty much used as a basis in regards to the player. It's gonna update the player's position right about here. You first instantiate the key handler class right here. There's the key handler right here. Then after that, it's gonna take the direction first in the update method. So this is pretty much what updates the position of the character. So after that, it's gonna update the position, which is the world Y and the world X, world Y and the world X. So in regards to that, I've set it up some speed, right? So it means that this in a single frame, right, the player updates its position and moves itself to this part of the screen. It's not really going to show on the screen yet, but that's going to be its location after that in one frame. And I've set up to be default speed and default speed in order to enable the knockback function, which I'll explain later. So, after that, and as it's taken its direction, it's gonna update its position like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the role of updating the position of the player character. Okay, so considering that there are so many functions that are supposedly going to be displayed right here, very much. So I'm not really gonna go into specifics on some code that I have written because it's very complicated and this is a month's work. So it's gonna take me so much time. So in regards to that, now going back to the player class, yeah, and then it's gonna draw, the character. Yeah, it's gonna draw it. First of all, you import these images right here to my get player image class. Get player image and get player attack image. I'll also set some default values on what the position of the character on the map is, right here. I've also added some attributes that will be, the basis of some functions in the game. So, like what your level is, strength, dexterity, XP, and all of that. With a get attack and get defense. So that's how it works. But you first hand get the player image and get player attack image right here. Get player image and get player attack image right over there. Then you set items. So essentially, it's gonna draw. So after you have updated those attributes of the player, right, changing its position, like pressing WASD, it's gonna be drawn by the draw class right here too. So image up one, I've set up image up one in the right here, right. I take the images from right there and set up their sizes and then store it into this variable right here. And so that's how it works. And you pretty much displace it into this draw method, and the image would be equals up 1, up 2, up 3, up 4, up 5, up 6. So yeah, it pretty much depends on what direction that your character is gonna be displayed. And then it's gonna be displayed right here in the draw image. So that's how its updating works right here. Alright, explaining some other functions. So yeah, that's how you pretty much update the player class's position. Alright, so considering the time-consuming nature of code explanations, because this is pretty much a month's work, in total, I'm just gonna explain the role of every class and how they pretty much relate to one another, in regards to their functions. So in regards to the game panel, right? In regards to the game panel, this is for the world set. I've set up my screen settings right here. That would be the basis of our window. And then in regards to the world settings, so you have pretty much set up the size of my world, which in this case is 50 and 50. And the tile size is max world call, world height. So this is pretty much used in my for my like drawing the map that's way beyond the window, the amount, the window that I have. So earlier, it would be 16 by 12 originally, which would be converted through the screen width and screen length into these amounts of pixels. But in this case, in this one, instead of 16 and 12, it would be using the 7, it would be multiplied by my tile size and it would be much, much bigger. So that's pretty much the role of these guys. World width and world height would be what for screen width and screen length for your window. So yeah, what it would be for the map, what it would be for your screen. Then I've also set up some screen width and screen length right here for my full screen, and I've set up my game to be, to have 60 FPS. Alright, so I guess that's the player function, settled down. So yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit in depth to the player. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna speak about the role of the classes right here. So the role of the game panel class is to pretty much hold, run the loop, and when it regards to running the loop, it's gonna update the information of all assets and resources that are inside it and gonna draw it on the screen, right? So that's how it pretty much works. And it's in this class that a lot of the bases in regards to like in this setup game, it's gonna, the role of the setup game right here is to display the monsters and characters and all of that into the screen, right? So it's gonna be called if it's gonna draw the objects, NPCs, and monsters into the screen, and it plays the music along with it too. Then there's also the retry that pretty much sets up the spawn point of the character in regards to spawn point of the character in regards to and restores its mana, right, when he dies. So it's pretty much called whenever the player's health goes to 0. So that's what pretty much the role of the game panel is. It's pretty much used as a basis for a lot of methods and all of that. The restart, retry pretty much just resets your position, but restart just resets everything. Your playtime, if how many monsters you've defeated. So it pretty much displays right here in this method, and it's gonna be called every time by my UI class. And then there is also a set full screen that I've explained this earlier already. And of course, you need a method that starts the game thread. That's gonna be called by my 2D game right here in my 2D game class. Then after that, there's also explanations right here and the sound effect classes methods. So for now, let's go a little bit deeper in regards to the Key Hunter class. So right here, there are varying methods in regards to when you are in the playing the game. So of course, the WASD changes your position. Pretty much says what your a certain key is pressed, and when a certain key is pressed. Then this one, enables it to display the inventory. So that's what the role of this VK_E is. So yeah. The right, the right is varying functions, which very much is either for selection of items in your inventory or you're attacking. That's pretty much its role. Or it could also mean that it's for navigating through the menu in that in the title screen. The F is for my fireball. So it has also a specific function that's related for that. Then there's also the T that pretty much shows the debug text that I had implemented, and the escape that pretty much implements the pausing of the screen. There's also the loading of the maps right here, and the pause state that pretty much is executed whenever you press escape here. The dialogue state is displayed whenever you talk to an NPC, and the character's state is pretty much your controls whenever you are playing and you press letter E. The character state is implemented. So presented. So the character state pretty much presents your UI, which is your inventory and all of that. So like that, isn't that? And of course, your game over state that when you die, this would be presented along with all of those the menus and all of that. So these are pretty much the controls when it comes to the different screen states, and that's how it works right there. And my title screen also has this role, title state, which I have 3 modes. The credit screen, the how to play, and the main title screen, and also the story screen. So it's pretty much also displayed right here, if you want to navigate through the menus, which is pretty much used as a basis in regards to a lot of displays. So that's pretty much handled my class, Key Hunter class here. the player class. So it pretty much is very closely related to my UI class here, which displays the everything that you see. That's not a black screen. So let's say my menu, which pretty much displays your menu like those. How should we say this? If you want to play, if you want to see the how to play and the quit. So that's how it works. Right here too. So like right here, I pretty much set up the font first. Hub HTT, like all of that, and the HUD objects that are gonna be displayed right here. The add messages role is when you attack earlier. You could see that earlier in the gameplay. Is that it's gonna scroll it's gonna add the message and it's gonna scroll up and display the messages. Of course, the UI class also has its draw method, which is gonna be called in the game panel class, which pretty much responds to the effects, the updates created by the key handler, whether or not that it's pressing this certain thing turns it into a title state, play state, pause state, dialogue state, character state, game over state, or game complete state, which you're going to complete the game. There's also the draw. So of course, this is my draw complete screen right here. This is where I draw my player's life. The thing in the UI you see on the top left. Draw dialogue screen right over here. If I want to talk to NPC, so it pretty much opens a sub window up top. There's also the draw game over screen. That if when you die, it's gonna be displayed. In regards to the menus, it's also in regards to the menus, the key handler. When regards to pressing say W or S in regards to navigating the menus, it actually manipulates a certain value that until that certain value is that value, it would display the cursor, which is like this one. And then of course this is the draw sub window and the draw message. This is where the the talks of the villagers and all of that are pretty much displayed. This is also the draw time, which counts down, shows the time until you die to the curse. There's also the draw enemies killed. That until you have killed 30 of those monsters, your curse would be alleviated. So yeah, it's like you need to make 30 sacrifices in order to get rid of the curse. There's also my draw title screen, that if its title is equals to 0, it will display my, of course, everything that from my play to my how to play and the quit. Then if the title screen 1, this is my story code, which pretty much displays the story of the game. Here in the how to play, this is pretty much where your how to play section is displayed, and this is the credit screen that pretty much is displayed right here. There's also the pause screen that pretty much displays whether or not if you pause the game or you quit. So this is what pretty much is shown. So yeah, earlier you saw those the draw class, right? Basically these methods are called whenever the UI class is drawn, and the state of the screen that you are right now is pretty much manipulated, which is through those if else statement would execute these methods. So there's also the draw character screen that displays my attributes, like this. And also my draw inventory that displays my inventory along with being able to navigate through it. This is also the get item index on slot. That's pretty much used by my entity earlier there in order to access some stuff. Then these classes specific purpose is to act as a coordinate in order to center the UI windows and messages into the right position. So in this case, get X for centered X is mostly used for the title screen. Get X for align to right text is pretty much used for my inventory. So that's pretty much the role of my UI. the sound class earlier that I have displayed. So its role is just, you know, taking the sounds and having these methods that could be called, having these methods that could be called if you know, want some specific purpose. Say play as, say if I made an object that to access this class, you know, this object, you know, would want to, you know, display something. So you pretty much, you know, call the object of this sound class, then access the methods, and if you want to play, if you want to loop, if you want to start, this is gonna be played right here. And in this case, that's pretty much its role. Takes the sounds. Alright, earlier I haven't really gone into depth earlier, but in order to optimize the code, you know, this scale image, you know, this utility tool's purpose is to take the image, you know, in regards to image importing from your files. Image importing from your files, it's gonna end up it's gonna be run through here instead of being displayed on each and every one of these classes. So it would be, you know, it would slow down your system a lot and it would suck. So, you know, you don't really have to do the utility tool. Then there's also the event handler, where that if you reach a pretty much this you know, that event handler, that let's say if you start a certain quest, you know, if you interact with a certain NPC or you go into a certain position in your coordinates, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna give an intended effect. So in my case, I've used the event handler in order to change the map and have a few secrets along the way, you know. So that's pretty much my main reason for using the event handler. So yeah, it teleports you, and it doesn't teleport you right here too, so that's how it works, you know. Then there's also the collision checker, which my collision checker is pretty much used in order to check whether or not that you have hit a certain, if these two entities, the monster and the NPC, actually hit each other, and if they don't, you know, they will just go past. So this collision checker checks whether or not that, you know, they should pass through. In this case, they shouldn't. So of course the collision checker checks it, then there is actually collision that occurs. That's pretty much the role of your collision checker right here. So it checks for the player, for the monsters, and for the NPCs, and of course the tile. In regards to the tile making, you know, I'd like to display this to you right now, is that in the update method of the, you know, game panel class, of the game loop in the game panel class, you know, in order to display the image, of course, you're gonna take the buffered image first and the collision equals to false. This is pretty much used as a basis by the collision checker to set whether or not that this specific coordinate is you know, should you walk through it or should you not, you know, like if it is a grass, if it is a, you know, water or anything like that, it's gonna be, you know, this. Going on to the, you know, class right here, and of course it's gonna instantiate the tile right here. So I'm gonna explain the tile making right now. So map making right now. So in regards to map making, it's gonna first take the, you know, location, you know, the class, then, you know, gonna set the incrementors, you know. Essentially the role of this while loop. The role of this while loop is to, okay, I like to enlighten something. Our map files uses text files. So essentially, in this text files involves a matrix of numbers that represent a specific tile. And in regards to representing a specific tile, those specific tiles would import their own images too, such as this images. And their numbers would, you know, and you would designate a number for them, and that would be what would be displayed on the matrix on the text file. So you take the text file right here, you set the column of while loop, which that text file should have the same amount of size in regards to what we have set earlier in the game panel class, which is 50 by 50. In this case, it will be the max world call and max world row right here. So like I said earlier, it's pretty much used for incrementation. That's how it works. So this is for the string line, BR the read line. It's going to read the first line. Then, while the column, right, it's going to read the first line, while the colon is less than the max word call, you know, it's going to read all of those numbers right there and set it into the num right here. And then that number, right, which is that 15 or something like it, on all of that, you know, like it's gonna be stored in this map tile num array that I have created, which it's like right here is gonna be based off the, you know, right now it would be based off whatever increment that it is in right now. So like the column is 1 and then the row is 0 at the moment, you know, and the map is 0, you know, as you have set earlier, as you can see set earlier. It's gonna, you know, gonna store that in the specific element of this array. Then after that one line is done, it's gonna row plus plus, meaning that it's gonna start over, right? It's gonna move one line to the bottom and column equals to 0, start over from 0. That's pretty much the role of the load map, you know. Stores it into the map tile num, which would be used by the tile, right? Right here. You see this? So you take the images, store it into a specific number, which would be the basis of the map tile num. I mean, yeah. And then the tile index is it's using this setup class in order to take the image and store certain values into it. Then we would be drawing the class right here, but in our case, yeah, it's pretty much gonna draw the tiles right here. So it's gonna be shown tile num, and every time that the loop would, you know, it would be stored into the map tile num right there. It is gonna read the, you know, the tile num right here. Okay, here it is. It's gonna take that specific element, you know, and all of its coordinates and all of that, and stores it into the tile num right here, and then prints it right here. You see these things that are a little bit of a, you know, like, you know, all this. This is the code block that I created in order to, in case that you reach the edge and your and if it works, you can move to the edge without any sort of issues, you know. And this one, I created this class in order to optimize the program. So instead of display everything that is on the map right now, it would only display it inside of your, you know, what is pretty much on what you pretty much set on your screen. So that's what it would display right here. Max world column, you know, world plus plus. So it's gonna start reading again right here, world row. So like it pretty much works the same way as it was in the map tile num earlier. And it's gonna start in the tile num, display it, this updates, you know, start in tile num, then prints it, stores in the tile num, and then prints it, and that's how the map making works in this program. And then, you know, in regards to your entity class, I think that's all done with the main classes here, and the explanation is done right there. Here, the role of the entity class is to take the images of each and every one of these guys, you know, in the male villager, the female villager, and all of that, and then it is used pretty much for, you know, varying purposes. If it's gonna display, is it gonna attack? So I think there are varying circumstances in regards to its use. So yeah, varying circumstances in regards to its use. So it's pretty much used by the player class, player, projectile, and these varying monster classes. So, in my case, right, I'm just gonna go on with the entity right here. So yeah, that's pretty much the role of the entity. So it's like, like, yeah, it's like the parent class of these two things. And the role of these entity. So it pretty much so if there is a player class, right, and it updates the position or its animations and all of that, that's the role of the entity class, right? What it is for, it is what it is for the monsters, as what player class would be for for itself, I think. So yeah, it also has an update method, use method. I also have a drop item here and check conditions and all of that. So yeah, that's pretty much the role of this entity class. It's pretty much used by my other monster classes here as well, So it's gonna get the image and it's gonna be processed by the entity class, and then it's gonna display the image from right there in the entity class. The reason why we use an entity list earlier is because it's gonna access each and every one of these classes, projectile, monster, and player classes, and accessing them, runs a while loop, and then displays it accordingly with whatever images that they got. So say if it's a female villager, male villager, and the old man, it's gonna display, it's gonna use the entity class, and instead of displaying amongst themselves already, it displays it through the use of the entity class, which would be drawn by the game panel class that I had earlier. So that's pretty much the role of it, and they have the varying purposes. Also works the same. No, not really. Yeah, I guess that's all of the. Okay. So yeah, it doesn't only involve the players, projectiles, and the monsters. It also involves the objects themselves. So yeah. But for now, I'm gonna explain a little bit of one of the most crucial classes that I got here, which is the pathfinding. So, when you are being accumulated and attacked by those many monsters, the node classes and the pathfinder classes enables them to find their way to you. So that's pretty much the role of the node and my pathfinder class. So when so boiling it down, it would open I had a method here that if you're gonna have a method here that if I say that it's a method that's called onPath, and then if I call it, it's gonna enable the searching of the enemy into the player character. So I pretty much set it up nga langsod that it will chase you, right? So that's what it was for the spearman right here and the warrior. Also, I've designated a couple of stuff in regards to the spearman. So this is pretty much the same logic for everyone here. That it would drop certain items such as these object and shields. I mean, heart and mana crystal. So we pretty much display these objects from under location of the monster right here. So yeah, and that's pretty much how the monsters classes and all of that pathfinding and all of them work. But there's a difference between the the green slimes and the spearman and the warrior. In regards to the spearman, because it pretty much it spawns a projectile and updates the position of that projectile until it hits the player. So that's pretty much the role of this. It's pretty much, it has an extra code that's different from your warrior class. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the the system of the monsters work. It's gonna be displayed right here in the entity, same way with the objects that I have right here in the entity. It's gonna be displayed right there too. And so I think that's it. I think that's the entire program, and I would like to thank you for listening this far, and trying to understand this code that I have right now. I couldn't really go in depth with some of the code because it has been so long since I've written them, and in some cases I have difficulty remembering some of the codes, and it would take so much time, trying to remember them. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have as much fun in this game as I have had in this game development.